Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Business from the Bass Boat Podcast on the Serious Angler Network. And guys, today we are back finally from this long strand of tournaments, back in the studio, the home office, and we've got an awesome show lined up today. It has been freaking hot here in Colorado. It's been like 90s, sunny, and it's been good. So excited to get back on the lakes around here, get things rolling. But today we've got an awesome show lined up. A space that I've always considered is just such a cool thing to me. And I have no skills when it comes to photography, videography, cinematography, making films that are just incredible and covering tournaments and the lifestyle that a lot of us live and aspire to live. And we've got one of the greats right now coming on just with everything around the camera lens. And I'm excited to just talk about that industry with him. We've got Tanner Lyons, or is it Lyons, man? Did I mess that
Lions.
up?
Yeah, Lions. You got it.
All right. Sweet, man. How are you?
Good, dude. Good. Just a hot day here in Texas, man.
I bet. When I said 90s, I bet you were like, that sounds good.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's been, I think we had a couple days so far over 100, and I think the first official day of summer was actually last Tuesday, but it was almost 100 degrees before that anyway. So it's been a burner, dude.
Burner, man. And also you have the humidity, and we were talking off the air, but you're there on Conroe, right?
Yeah. So 45 minutes north of Houston, not too far from the Woodlands, like you and I talked about. Like you said, humidity is the game changer down here, dude. It's muggy, dude. You step outside for 5 minutes, doesn't even matter if you're working out or just walking, you're sweating, you're pouring sweat. Your clothes are drenched. You go fishing, you can't hardly breathe. The air's so thick. But man, it'll test you quick, dude. It'll test you quick. Growing up fishing down here was actually like really tough because I'm from North Texas, and Texas in general is like really unique because I'm from north of Dallas, which is only 4 hours from where I'm at now.
Sure.
And but the air quality is completely different. Like living down here in Houston, you're so close to the bay and the ocean.
Okay.
And that humidity actually stacks up quick, bro. It's crazy. 4 hours north, the air is a lot more dry.
Really?
No, it's not nearly as humid. The air's actually pretty dang dry. I mean, when you get coastal breezes and stuff, they'll push up a little bit. You have some humid days in the North Texas Metroplex, but it's not nearly as humid as it is down here.
I've heard that about Austin too, man. We had a friend that went to school here in Colorado State with me. He was like, yeah, man, it's like it's high plains, dude. It's like it's pretty dry.
It is, yeah. Austin and San Antonio up there, like that central Texas region is actually pretty dry too. It's pretty arid, actually. Probably pretty similar to the
we're in high plains,
yeah.
man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's similar situation. So that's wild. But dang, dude, yeah, it'll test you, man. That's my experience of anything in the South in the summertime. Like fished some high school national championships and college national championships, and of course, just like I think there was one today on Pickwick. Like it's always middle of the summer. And brutal. Like it is like, dude, it is going to be 95 with 95% humidity, and you better
zero wind.
The water is nice. 90. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Yeah. That's what we have here. I think yesterday I saw like 88, 89. It's close to 90, man. It's
really a hot tub. That's a bath.
It is.
It's insane.
It's like my brother like swam in it, and he's like, dude, it feels so good. Jump in. I'm like, man, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Good.
I'll jump in like a last resort. Like if I'm out there fishing and it gets tough and I feel like going home, I'll jump in, then I'm good to go for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I want to go home again.
Yeah, dude, that is the most underrated in my opinion in a hot, especially in like a practice for a tournament. So I was just up on Lake Oahe in South Dakota, and surprisingly, that whole like Midwest too, it gets hot, man, in the summer. Like it gets cold in the winter, and it gets hot and humid in the summer, and so it was just our state qualifier because we choose these different states because our lakes are all tiny. But we went to Lake Oahe, and dude, like it was 90 and slick every day of practice. And like about 3 o'clock, I'm like, man, I got to get my head clear and go find some more fish. I just jump right off the bow, dude. Jump right off the bow.
It gives you life, dude. It gives you life. It does give you life.
Exactly
I didn't jump in the other day. My brother jumped in like 3 times, and he's like, oh, I'm good to go. Let's keep fishing.
That's sweet, dude.
It was fun. Fishing's been great, by the way. It's been super good here. Yeah, super. My brother caught we have an old champion. It's an old bass boat. I always say we have the best piece of crap on Lake Conroe because we've had it since we were 16. It's a 1991 champion, 181 with a 150 Pro V. Yeah, it's an old school boat. It's awesome. honestly, it rides super, super good.
Oh, heck
We're in and out so much. Him and I, we're lucky to be home like a week a month.
yeah.
And so, I mean, instead of forking out all the money for bass boats with like the market and stuff right now, it's like, let's just keep what we have and just add to it. And plus, like the sentimental values there. We caught every single 10-pounder we ever caught together has been out of that boat. That boat's just got a crazy history story. And all my friends that know that we have it, like, man, that thing's seen some fish, you know? So,
Heck yeah, dude.
but yeah, it's been great. Travis caught an 8 yesterday. We were shooting a 13 fishing video.
Okay.
And he was on the water while I was on with my buddy Joe. And he's like, I'm going to take our boat out. That way, if you guys can't catch a big one, I'll catch a big one so you can stage some fish picks and stuff like that. And he actually caught an 8.5-pounder like right next to us. So I was like, dude, that was clutch for the video. So we have a giant in that video. It's going to be sweet.
Awesome, dude.
It was cool. I can always depend on him to catch big ones. My brother, like him and I grew up fishing like for a long time. We didn't really get into bass fishing until we moved here to Conroe.
Interesting.
Because we didn't even know that the professional and like tournament side of angling like that even really existed when we were growing up. Because no one really in my family is big into the outdoors or fishing at all. My dad captained for us in some high school tournaments and stuff like that back in the day, but I didn't really have anybody in my family that really like could take me fishing or get me into fishing. We moved to a house when I was in 5th grade and it had a pond on it. And of course we're like, let's get some fishing rods and see if there's any fish in it. So we'd catch bluegill and stuff like that out of it. But it wasn't until, you know, we knew what bass were. Like you'd go throw a beetle spin and you caught a bass. Like, hey, I caught a bass. But like we didn't even know what like tournament fishing and bait casters and all this other stuff even was when we first like moved here to Conroe. My buddy Jordan Scambray, and I think I told this story when I was on with Bailey a couple years ago. How I got into it was, Travis and I moved here to the lake here in Lake Conroe. We live in Seven Coves, which if you've seen the lake, you know where that big lighthouse is. We're really close to the lighthouse. We're probably like as the crow flies, not even a mile from the lighthouse. And there's a Seven Coves Marina, is the marina that's in our neighborhood. And we moved down here, rode our bikes down to the marina, and we've got Zebco 33s, like beetle spins and stuff like that. And we pull up to the marina, and there's this kid fishing down there, and he's got it was a skeet reese rod, one of those yellow ones.
Oh yeah,
and that was the first bass rod I'd ever laid eyes on. I'm like, dude, that rod is sick. That rod is so cool. And so I'm like, dude, it's yellow. That's so sick. And the first day that we went down there, he caught a 6-pounder. It was during the spring, which we didn't even know what the spawn was and stuff at the time. And he was sitting on the corner of a dock, just kind of pitching to this corner like over and over and over. I'm like, dude, it looks like he knows there's a fish there. And he finally caught it. And it was like a 6.5-pounder. And I'd never seen a bass that big in my life. And Jordan Scambray, he's actually he's 4 or 5 years younger than my brother and I. And at the time, he was really tiny. Like he hit a huge growth spurt. He's tall, like almost taller than me now. But when we were tiny, he's just a beanpole, just short. And he's this little kid fighting the 6.5-pounder. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, dude, that's insane. That's crazy. So we started talking to him, and he actually was the one who showed us, you know, like, this is a shaky head. This is a bait caster. This is the type of line you need and stuff like that. And so Jordan Scambray was really the one who kind of like fueled our fire as far as fishing goes. My mom and dad have always been supportive of what Travis and I do. Like I said, my dad, when we were in high school, captained us on tournaments and stuff. And my dad doesn't really have the fishing knowledge that a lot of these other kids, you know, we never did. We fished the tournament on Rayburn and got 6th place.
Heck yeah.
And for us, that was legit because, you know, like most of the kids we were competing against were like, their dads were like guides or like professionals and stuff like that. So their dads are putting them on the hole. It has 32 pounds on it. They're just dragging through it, catching them. My dad's the kind of guy who's like, that stump looks pretty good, or like that grass looks pretty good. You just throw a spinnerbait through it. But yeah, but in my opinion, I think that's why I like fishing so much. That's why I've enjoyed it so much, because it's been something that I've gotten to kind of just take on and learn myself. There really wasn't any like, nothing ever was really like handed to me. It's just been something that like, that's why I'm so obsessed with it. Cause it's just, I'm lucky now because I have a bunch of friends and stuff. Like I hang out with Gerald Swindle, film with him, a bunch of other big names in the industry. So I get to learn. Like that's what I like about my job the most is I get to sit there and film somebody, and they'll hook up and I'm like, what are they throwing? Like peeking around the camera and trying to like make sure my shot's there, but I'm also like trying to observe and see what they're doing. So that's just I'm obsessed with fishing, dude. And I think that that's why I like my job so much, because it really, I enjoy my job because feel like I'm pretty decent at it. But I also get to learn so much, dude. So like anytime I go, it's frustrating and it's also fun at the same time because I'll film a tournament. Like I filmed a tournament at Lake Hartwell and they were smashing them on topwaters, and I come back home and I just want to throw a topwater, and there's no topwater bite on chondro, so I'm like so frustrated.
I bet.
But yeah, man, that's how I got into fishing, man. It's just it's been one big adventure, and it's also really cool because my brother has been there through all of it. And so that's, to me, I think that's the coolest thing ever. For a lot of other people, they get burnt out. You know, they get kind of lost and they just kind of wander around. For me, my direction's been, I've had my direction and my scope's set the entire time. And it's been super easy because, like, being brothers, we hold each other a lot, accountable. So
Sure.
that's a major player. Like if I'm busy, I'm like, hey, dude, I need your help. If he's busy, he's like, hey, man, I need your help. Everything just works out really good. And when we're not working, we're on chondro fishing or on Rayburn somewhere.
Heck yeah.
But
well, dude, I guess let's go through exactly for folks who don't know. So you guys are like a team when it comes to this, but like if you were to describe your job to someone that wasn't in the fishing industry, didn't really understand it all, like how would you describe? And again, it's you and then your brother Travis doing a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of this you do separately versus together, but like how would you describe what you guys do?
I would say we are fishing filmmakers is what I always tell people that we are. Which, to be honest, there's a lot of filmmakers out there, and in the world now, there's a lot of great fishing filmmakers. Like I look up to like Kyle Van Dever is probably one of the best persons to ever pick up a camera and point it at someone who's bass fishing. In my opinion, I think that's just I look at the stuff that he does and I'm like, dude, it's insane. Like just natural talent. Actually, the MLF came to Conroe a couple years back, and I actually drove Kyle Van Dever around on my boat as a camera guy for Brandon. And so I've known him for a little while. We kind of chat here and there a little bit, but yeah, for people who don't know, I get asked a lot, like, what do you do for a living? What do you do? I'm like, I'm a fishing filmmaker. I grew up, like, I've had a lot of different jobs in the industry. I grew up working at kind of like off and on at a marine place, like hung motors on bass boats, helped mechanics, hung power poles, rigged graphs, and then from there, I went to college like part time. Almost had my associates, and I dropped out to go work at 6 Sense Lure Co. Worked at 6 Sense Lure Co. for like 3 years, almost 3 years, like 2 years. Travis and I worked there together. I was doing all the social media stuff, and that's kind of how I got my professional passion for filmmaking and using a camera. We of course, having a brother, like growing up, we would steal my mom's like little digital camera and we'd go shoot like YouTube videos. And I'm like, hey, we're going to put a fake gunshot effect over this. Like, let's shoot, like act like we're shooting guns or whatever. And so we, like, when we were kids, we'd make embarrassing YouTube videos, and they're still floating out there around.
Dude, I've got one of those out. It's horrible. Like if anyone ever finds it, man, it's bad.
Dude, like people are always like, someone will text me like, hey, what about you talked about those embarrassing videos, like what's the link to them? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to send them the link. But but the thing is, like, there was a time where I was like super embarrassed about it, but now like Travis and I, when we're bored, we'll just go back and watch them.
Hell, heck yeah! It's grown up.
Like especially now, how like where we're at now, it's just really cool to go back and watch them and see how that was like the beginning of being interested in cameras and editing and all that stuff. But that kind of escalated pretty quick whenever we got jobs and stuff and started working. We started dumping more money into camera gear, GoPros and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I was actually working at a dry cleaner and then going to school and then sometimes helping Travis out at the marina, and got an offer from Casey at 6 Sense and worked there for 2.5 years. And then from there, I actually got a gig to go shoot a TV show and traveled, left 6 Sense for like, after, like I said, almost 2.5 years, and just took off and traveled, like went out of the country twice and shot all over the United States, shot a TV show. And at the time, looking back, it was like crazy because I wasn't nearly as skilled as I am now.
Yeah.
And it was like a huge opportunity for me. And it was just cool. I think just having the opportunity was really, really cool. And it was enough to kind of keep my pockets full and kind of keep it going, because I didn't have much stuff going on at the time. I had left and was filming that TV show, and that's pretty much all I had going on. We were only shooting shows like once every month or so, probably. And so,
what kind of a show, like, was this outdoors, like
It was a fishing show. It was actually with Jim Root.
Okay.
It was real bragging rights with Jim Root.
Yeah.
So once I stopped shooting for them, I'd kind of already had a bunch of side stuff lined up. And like one thing about me, like I grew up in Era, Texas, which is tiny, like tiny little town.
Mhm.
My parents have always like done their best to support us and like motivate us. But one thing that's always been their deal is like if you want something, you're gonna work for it. Like you'll put a head like a roof over your head, we'll feed you, but if you want to go above and beyond, you got to work for it.
You gotta go
And
get it.
so, yeah, so our work ethic as far as just getting out there and filming and shooting all sorts of stuff has been all like through the roof. Shot weddings and stuff for a little while. Kind of got a little
Dude,
tired
yeah.
of that, just to kind of make money. And now now it's just all fishing stuff, dude. It's everything revolves around fishing. If someone hits me up and wants me to do some stuff for them, I'm not opposed to anything. But my main gig is fishing, dude. That's the coolest thing for me is just getting to travel and check out new places. I've been to so many places, so many like huge big bass factories and never even made a cast. Like there's like Gunnersville. I've been there. I actually fished with Gerald Swindle on Gunnersville a few times, and that was awesome.
I was gonna
But
say, man, after the day's done, you gotta sneak a couple casts in.
oh, dude, yeah, I do, man, I do. But I've just been to like thinking back, and it's just there's a bunch of crazy like historic bass fishing places I've been to and never even made a cast. But
Oh man.
yeah,
But you're
man, that's
experiencing it still, man. Like that's
yeah,
I don't know. Behind the lens, like and that's and it's Jake Latondras, when he was on the show and talking to him after, it was just really cool because he lives 5 minutes from my house. We literally went and
yeah,
got
yeah,
a beer after the show. We didn't
that's
know
awesome.
he lived this close. But his biggest thing was like, man, I've filmed so much stuff. Like in my day, like he's got all these different income sources. He's got a bar, he has a guide service, like, and he's like, my favorite thing in the world is filming the Bassmaster Classic, filming
Yeah,
tournament fishing, like filming an Elite Series event, like watching that happen in the raw emotion of anglers, like I don't know, front row
yeah, yeah,
seat to like as cool as it
100%, dude.
gets, man. And you
And
can,
it's your job to tell that story. That's the coolest thing about it to me. Is like
Mhm.
they could be having a bad day or a good day, and it's your job to tell that story of how the day is unfolding. And really capturing emotion is the biggest thing that I do. Is like I have to be able to tell like, hey, this guy is upset without even if he doesn't show me an emotion. I have to be able to fill the gaps. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
filmed with John Hunter on the pro circuit, and I've been doing that for
good
almost
dude.
3 years now. And dude, John Hunter is an amazing dude. That dude is like is actually crazy. When the show stopped, I still had a few things going on, but for the most part, like as soon as the show stopped, I was like, dude, I got to find some more things to do. Like I got to get
Yeah,
busy. And John Hunter was like, hey man, you want to shoot a YouTube series? I'm like, yeah, I do. And
heck
so
yes.
the first time I met John, I met him at ICAST, but we actually we went to Rayburn, and I only live like 2.5 hours from Rayburn,
Mhm.
and met John in Rayburn, and that was pretty much history for that. Me and John are like buddies now, dude. It's like we've been to so many places, been across the country. John's had my back. We always get together and film. It's just been a good time, dude. That's one of my favorite things, like because we shoot the Limitless series, and I think that outside of everything I do is like probably
Serious.
one of my favorite things to do because it's like my brainchild. Like that is the
That's
biggest series of videos I ever really put out. And John has been an awesome dude to work with. It's just fun, like hanging
man.
out, telling stories. Like he's having a great year. He's doing great in the
Yes,
points,
he
and
is, man.
it's been a good year for him, dude. I'm stoked for him.
It's good in the points on both sides of things, on the opens as well as that.
Yeah,
I've had him on the show twice, and same way, just such a good dude, such a good, easy guy to talk to.
yeah,
And man, that's such a cool thing, and that's part of why I had you on. It's like, man, who's doing all this stuff for him on YouTube?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
here we
Yeah,
go.
that's me. Yeah, that's me.
Heck yeah, man. Well,
Yep.
it's very well done. From what I've seen, it's been incredible. And then, I mean, you're basically looking at your calendar each year, and you're like, okay, so say you've got your John, your angler, you're going to follow around at every event, every pro circuit event, or whatever you're describing. So like that blocks off however many weeks of your year.
Right, right.
Then you guys both do right the NPFL coverage.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So then that blocks out like however many weeks a year. So like, man,
Right.
you were on the road a
Oh,
ton.
dude, burning wheels, bro. I've already changed my tires like twice. But yeah, dude, yeah, we put a lot of miles on the vehicles, dude, that's for sure. Travis and I, we kind of like alternate.
Yeah.
He actually drives an F-250, so we've been taking my truck a little bit more. I have an
Uh,
F-150, And with fuel prices this year, Travis is like, man, let's just take yours.
Yeah.
like I'll pay you back. We'll go half on gas, but yeah, dude, it's a lot, dude. It's like I said, we're lucky to get like 1 week at the house a month. This year has been good because this year was actually a different year because I don't know how, but between NPFL and the pro circuit, I was actually home most of the month of March, which is
Really?
like peak spawn here
Yeah.
in Conroe. So I got to jack some giants this year. Like got to go fish Conroe for a couple weeks. I was home for like almost 3 weeks during March, and
Wow.
which is like unheard of. Like because normally everyone's fishing in March, but
Sure.
but yeah, with NPFL, I think there was only one conflict this year. There's only one tournament. I think it was Pickwick for MLF, and we were at Hartwell with NPFL.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only conflict we had this year. Other than that, it's just been like, dude, okay, like Virginia this week, and then like Tennessee. It's just back and forth. But that's another job title I have as a truck driver. That's another job title for sure.
Right. Every angler too, man. Like better be used to sitting in a truck because it's gonna happen.
That's the thing. I always tell people like, yeah, I drive just as much as the pros, if not more.
Oh yeah.
But it's honestly when Travis rides with me, it's so easy. Like that's our time to really think. Really, like that's like at the house, you're sitting around, and you just want to go fishing. Like you're not really in your thinking space. But like when I'm driving, I just turn a podcast on and just cruise, man. That's like I kind of look forward to. I'm actually leaving tomorrow to go to the next NPFL at Saginaw Bay.
Yeah.
21 hours, I think. But Travis is riding with me, so it'll be a straight shot. I'm actually going to stop at John's house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm going to stop at John's house in Kentucky. We're shooting a piece with NPFL for Drunk Wood.
Oh,
which
heck
is the guy
dude.
that creates all of our stuff for
NPFL.
Man. He makes the plaques and stuff. So we're going to go hang out with John.
John's
both the Johns. And
Two
then,
Johns, man.
Yeah.
Drunk Woody, dude. He's a longtime listener and just a great friend of the show, man. Yeah. And man, he creates some cool stuff, and he's
he's super
funny
talented
guy.
Yeah, dude,
funny
he's cool.
Guy.
He's super cool. Yeah, he was like, yeah. He's like, I got plenty of bird. He phrased it. He said, yeah, you guys are welcome to stay here. And if you didn't know, in Kentucky, we have this thing called bourbon. I was like, yeah,
dude,
you do.
The amount of we'll have him like on a guest show or something with fantasy fishing, but like he just has the funniest things to say, and we're like, man, we gotta like censor some of this. But like, dude, he will. I don't know if you've seen recently here on his Instagram, he's been promoting like his sponsors. Like he'll be like, all right, guys, so this is Gold Bond. They've been really getting on me to sponsor what's going on, but like, you got to protect your nards out there when it's hot out. It's the stuff he does is just, it cracks me up so much. And it's just like, man, the guy you want to support. Like when I want something for my dad or something related to woodworking, like that's who I'm going to.
Dude, he's super talented. He's done a lot with NPFL, and I didn't really, I didn't know him at all until NPFL came around.
Mm-hmm.
He actually he came to one of the tournaments. I think it was Cumberland this year.
Cumberland, yeah, when he was right at Cumberland, yeah.
Yeah, he came up and we all got to hang out. We went to the bar or whatever. We went to like a wing place and we all hung out and got to meet him and stuff. It was really cool. But dude, that's another cool thing about what I do is I get to meet a bunch of cool people. Like just if there's big names in the industry, you're bound to cross paths with them and meet them, and that's been the coolest thing about what I do. I think it's just meeting people. Like it's just it's really, really cool.
It's just cool, man. I mean, and I've had some of that perspective just with the podcast is like you run across folks and build relationships with people that just have your back and are your friends for life. And that's what's so cool about the fishing industry. I think it just brings people together because everyone has such a passion for it. And someone like John, like, I mean, he's just supporting the industry completely. And like the universe works in that way, man. Like that'll come back to him. Like I guarantee it. People will be like, man, that guy. So I don't know, man. That's so cool. And just it's awesome that you're rolling and you're just going and going and going all the time. One comment that I was going to say earlier about the old champion, what's wild. So like I fish a lot of Western lakes too. So like Havasu and Clear Lake and those kinds of areas. And man, down by like Havasu and Mead, like the champion, there must've been like a dealer that ripped through because
I bet
there are so many champions, dude. It is absurd. And like pristine, like super nice, like champions that guys have gone in and then put like a brand new motor on. And it's just like there must have been someone, a sales guy that knew what he was doing, because like all of the West, like you go on Havasu or on Lake Mojave and you're just like champion.
I actually,
everywhere.
a couple years ago, it's crazy that you mentioned that. A couple years ago, I went to Lake Powell in
Okay.
Utah.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah.
And BRP actually paid me to go out there and shoot some stuff with the Fish Whisperer, who has a deal with Sea-Doo. And they gave me a Sea-Doo Fish Pro. We loaded up our gear and our bags. I took a bunch of batteries, like chargers and stuff with me. We camped for like 10 days straight.
Yeah.
And I think I probably saw more champions in like the most remote lake in the world. There's like nothing out there. Like roads don't even touch the bank, dude. Like,
nothing, man.
You're an hour from civilization, and I was seeing champions like every single day, and they were super sick, dude. Like it's crazy that you mentioned that. I guess Arizona must be like Arizona, Utah, that area must be just flooded with them. I don't really ever see many around here. There's a few on Conroe. I think there's something about champions on Conroe. We fished a Tuesday nighter last year.
Okay.
And our Tuesday nighters are only 3 fish limit. So Travis and I was actually out of town, and Travis is like, he calls me. He's like, "Hey man, what time does your flight land?" I'm like, lands at like 3, I think is when my flight landed. And he was on the lake that day, and he was like, "Dude, I just found a school like loaded full of giants. We got to fish the Tuesday nighter." And we don't really fish the Tuesdays out here much. Like we don't really donate much. We only like to fish them when we know we can just bag them up.
I like it. Good way.
And but all of our buddies are always like, "Dude, when I see you and your brother like enter a Tuesday nighter, like I know it's game over."
You guys have them.
And so no, that night Travis was on the lake in the morning, and he drove to George Bush and picked me up, and he was like, "All right, we're gonna fish this spot here," and they're loaded out there. And so he picked me up. I came home, like changed clothes and stuff. We jumped on the lake, went over to go check in and stuff, took off. We land on the spot. First cast, my brother catches a 7.5 pounder. I'm like, okay, yeah, you were kind of right about that. You're kind of right. Next cast, he catches like a 4 pounder. And I caught like 20 fish that night, but we ended up calling every single one of the ones I caught out. And at the end of the night, we had like almost 18 for 3. It was like 17.90 something for 3. And we actually were beat by like 2 ounces by another group of people, an old champion that was like a year model newer than ours. And it was crazy because I remember making a joke when we were taking off at the Tuesday nighters on Conroe are super big. Like there's sometimes 40, 50, 60 boats. Like they're huge. And Travis and I's boat was probably the oldest boat in the field by like 30 years. It was like, dude, we're like a dinosaur. And at the time we only had a HDS 7 with side scan, and that was it. Like at the console, didn't have anything on the front. We have a Garmin Live Scope now on the front. We just put that on like a few weeks ago, and it's been like a game changer for us because we go film all these tournaments. Everyone's like jerk baiting with a live. Like John is huge on jerk baiting with a live scope, like huge. And I never
now,
wanted.
Is he doing it all times of the year, or is he like?
Yeah, at Gunnersville, that's how he caught like 90% of his fish was on a jerk bait, and it was hot. Like, and it was for the most part post spawn. Dude, John was ripping him on a jerk bait, dude. It was like, and he's got active target, but it was like it was so easy to film that because he'd be sitting there. He's like, "All right, get your camera ready. One's about to eat it." And I'd sit there and hit record and get the hook set like every time. I got like 50 hook sets on film that tournament because he was just catching them every cast. But yeah, that was a crazy night. We got beat by another champion, and the 2 champions of the field got first and second place. It was pretty legit.
That's
cool.
Sick, dude.
But I like him a lot. I'm a huge champion, like huge champion nut. Like I love him, dude. And me and John always jokes around, but he anytime he sees a champion, he's like, "I bet you like that boat." And I'm like, "Yeah, I love that boat." We were on Gunnersville like a month ago for that last pro circuit, and he was fishing under a bridge, and he was like around the column, and I was in the back part of the boat, so I could see around under this bridge, and there was a guy idling under the bridge. It was like a brand new, like looked brand new, like showroom condition, like I think it was a 201 or something like that, an old champion, but he had a brand new 4-stroke on it. And I'm like, dude, that is a boat right there, John. That's a boat. And John hadn't seen it yet. He's like, "I guarantee it's a champion." And it was a nice champion. dude, mint, like brand new 4-stroke, just clean, dude. It was awesome. That's like my dream boat. I wouldn't buy a brand new boat. I'd get a Champion, dude. But,
dude, heck yeah. There's man, there's so many like the last generation. I don't know if it was like 2008, 2009.
I think 08 or 09 is the last year they stopped making them. I think.
Yeah,
it was 08. I think.
You just see so many of those, like you said, in Arizona and that kind of a thing, and all of them brand new motors, like mint, man. They're gorgeous. So.
It's kind of like when bullets are big on the Tennessee River. Like there's like a huge, like a bullet owners group and stuff like. There's a huge, just group of people that run bullets and stuff like that. I remember.
It's cool how that goes around the country. Like you got different run different places.
You ever heard of a Norris Craft?
I mean, I've heard of Norris Craft. I didn't know they made bass boats.
Yeah, I think it's a Norris Craft. I was talking to my buddy the other day, and he showed me. He was looking at boats and stuff, and he found one. It was like a 96 or 95 Norris Craft, and it looked legit. It was super cool. I didn't like. There's so many small boat brands that you just don't know about, like because they were only here, for a certain amount of time. And that was a cool one because I looked up and did this whole I was like on my phone just doing research on the whole brand, and sure enough they were made in like Knoxville, I think, and like the only way you could order them was like custom colors or something like that. Like you had to put your order in. They didn't have any they may have had like kit colors or whatever, like just at the showroom, but for the most part, everyone that I've ever seen online is like crazy, like purple and yellow and all these crazy colors because people ordered them custom. It was crazy. Like just looking at research and stuff, it was really wild.
Dude, I'm obsessed with those like small brands of boats, man. I mean, like I've got a Phoenix, and it's becoming a lot more of a big brand, right? And it's great, and I love the boat, but like, man, I love when someone rolls up with a bullet, and I'll ask him about a bullet, or like Blazer, man. I think Blazers are
cool. Yeah, they're sweet. I like them a lot.
Falcon with John, right? Like I just so many of these cool little brands, and to me, like I don't know, a passion of mine is for sure bass boats. I love hearing about them, what they do, and how they run waves, all that kind of stuff.
They're cool. Our Champion runs in waves, dude. It's only an 18 footer. It's 18.6. It's a 186 DC for dual console.
Yep.
And dude, I'm telling you, I swear that boat will handle big waves better than some 20-foot boats would.
Here's the deal. I'm in 100% agreement, and I can talk on this because I had, before my Phoenix, I got a 721. Before that, I had a Legend 186 DC 2005.
Okay.
That boat, man, was so impressive in the waves. Like, and I just, so up on Oahe, man, it was big. Like we had guys breaking jack plates. We had a guy's transom fall apart. Like it was gnarly. And I can't wait to see the elites there too. It's going to be so fun. But anyways,
that is going to be really cool.
Dude, it's like, I mean, I was making a 40-mile run, and we canceled day 2 of the tournament. A walleye tournament canceled their 3rd day of the tournament, and we went out.
And that's bad, yeah.
Dude, like it was like, I mean, coming in the first day, it was 40-mile-an-hour winds. Now it was coming in a good direction, but like there was legitimate 5 and 6 footers. Like it was big, and guys were, we almost had a couple boats sink. Like it was dangerous, and I was very impressed with how that Phoenix rolled. Like it rode great. I've never been in a 21-foot boat where I was driving in waves that big. It was awesome. I would have felt, and I even said it, and then my team partner from around here was fishing as a co-angler, and I was like, I would have felt just as comfortable in my 18-foot.
In your Legend.
Yep. And my team partner was like, 100%, dude, like you dead on. Like we have had that boat in just as big of water, and it was just like, it's just, I think it's a lot of driver, but the way that boat was built, it's very similar to a Champion hole, very narrow, good cutting hole. Like I felt comfortable in that boat, even as
I think that's the main thing is the way the hole's built on the Champions for sure. It's like a super narrow, like that diamond cut kind of.
Yep.
But the Champion, I think, splits waves really good. Like even like big, kind of like rough, like a tiny rough chop. Yep. It just like plows right through them.
Yep.
And you never get wet in the Champion. My boat never gets wet. Like I'll run, like if the wind's pushing like a crosswind, you'll get sprayed and stuff like that.
Sure.
Never just cruising and getting wet. That's like my boat's. Yeah, I love it. It's been a great boat. We've had it since we were 16. My dad used to did he pull us to the lake and like drop us off because we didn't have our driver's license. Like Travis and I got that boat before we even got our driver's license, and so Dad would pull us to the lake and drop us in and be like, "All right, I'm leaving the trailer right here on the bank. I'll see y'all when the sun goes down." He'd pull back up to the lake and pick us up. that's like one of our first memories because we moved here and then.
Oh no, we lost him. We'll see if we can roll him back in. Sounds like he was going to talk about a memory of dropping him off at the lake. But anyways, big passion of mine, champion boats, any boat that has a narrow hull. That's why I kind of went with the 721. Not only cost wise, but real narrow hull, and I feel like those kind of cut waves.
You got me.
I got you, man.
I got backed out. I don't know what happened.
Did you get a phone call or something? Sometimes
no, I'm on my iPad, so I shouldn't be getting phone calls. But
Huh.
I'm good now. It works.
Good.
But yeah, dude, the champion, man, great boat.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Well, dude, I mean, one thing I wanted to kind of ask you, just as your network expands and you're getting more and more job offers and that kind of a thing, like, where do you feel like you've got to a point where you're like, hey, I can kind of name my price with some of this stuff? You know, are you to the point where you're turning down things because you're like, hey man, I got too much going on now? Like, just kind of where are you at in that aspect of your career?
Yes and no. We've got a good price right now. Granted, like everything kind of changes, you know. You get more busy, like it's all supply and demand really. Like I saw something the other day and it was saying if you're charging too little, you're going to be overworked. If you're charging the right price, you're going to be right there in the middle.
Working hard.
If you're charging too much, you'll be slow, you know.
You're not working.
Yeah. So you got to find the happy medium. And I think for us, that was like getting started. It was like you do a lot of stuff for like no cost at all or like free, just kind of get your name out there.
Yeah.
But right now, dude, we've kind of got it going. We've got a good price. I think for what we offer, I think we're pretty competitive. I don't really know what the other rates are in the industry. Mine, it's so weird because I'm a fishing filmmaker, camera guy, whatever. But like I'm not like a camera nerd. Like I'm not like a big tech guy into camera gear. Like of course I'm obsessed with getting new cameras and lenses and stuff like that. But I don't really fit into the
like crazy about that stuff.
Right. Like I don't really fit into the category of like being super meticulous and picky about what I use and stuff like that. Like I'm a creature of habit. If I find something I like, I'm just sticking with it and rolling with it.
Makes sense.
Like I bought a new camera this year. I used my last one for like 3 years and it made a lot of money with it. I was like, you know what? I'll buy a new camera. It's fine. Yeah. And so, and now like if my brother finds something he likes, I'm like, maybe I should get the same thing. So we always just buy like the same gear and kind of use the same stuff. But it's, with prices and stuff like that. It's been great, dude. I just landed a new contract with a seltzer company. So I'm doing some stuff kind of like I have a contract with 13 Fishing. I do a lot of their social media and stuff like that.
Okay. And when you say a contract, like in this, is it like you're not like just doing one job? Like you're almost on a retainer for them? Is that
right? It's basically a retainer. Yeah, it's a monthly retainer. I provide them X amount, you know, per month, like 10, 15, 20, 30 photos and a couple short videos. Gotcha. And that's kind of how I structure everything. Obviously, like I said, we're gone a lot. So we shoot like pro circuit, MPFL, and then like the week or so we're back home. It's all contract time. So Travis and I, we both double as models when we need to shoot. That's honestly the most clutch thing in the world too. Cause like, hey dude, I need a 13 shoot. Like, let's just jump on the boat. Let's go film some, like we'll go shoot like a 30-second little ad space video, just in the backyard, like at the marina fishing like a row of docks or whatever. It's awesome, dude. But it's the perfect setup, man. It's dude, everything's been going great. Like it's honestly kind of crazy to see how far things have come. And it's honestly really cool because I feel like it's the industry's small. And once you get your name out there and people think that you're a good person to work for, you give a good product. And number one, like you're a cool guy to be around. I think that's the biggest part of it. I think I've gotten more jobs, not really based off of my quality, but just because it's like fun to, like people enjoy hanging out with me.
Dude, I think that's everything in life, man. Like tangent 100%. Real quick. Like that is like, if you are approachable and a person that can just be, I don't know, cool or confident and hang out and talk to anybody, like that carries you so far in life with whatever you want to do.
because like I'm gonna choose the person who's cool to hang out with versus the person who's a slug. You know what I mean?
Oh
Because
yeah.
like especially with John, dude. When I'm on the water with John, me and John are like, we're not even talking about videos and stuff like that. We're just like,
Mm,
hey, you see that? You see that? You hear about this? You hear about that? Like, they're like, we're just buddies, man. And like, I think that's the biggest thing about everything that Travis and I do. We've actually been approached a lot because it's like, dude, like you guys work your butts off. You guys are really fun to be around. You're cool to work with. Like that's why I want to use you guys. So
mhm.
it's super cool, man. I think the industry is in a good spot. I think especially because COVID with like the marketing stuff, everyone wanted to push product. Online sales were going through the roof.
Yep.
That's honestly like we were kind of slow and all that stuff kind of kicked off because no one wanted to really travel. So we didn't travel for a while, but we were still at home pumping out
Cranking
content,
stuff
dude.
out.
Like just
And that's what's
we
cool
are
about you two being able to model for each other, being on a lake. Like you can get it all out.
for sure. Like and we're only like an hour from the coast. Like I had a couple other jobs that like cooler brands and stuff like that. We'd go down to the coast and we'd bring our girlfriends and go down there and do like a little shoot on the beach and stuff. Dude,
Okay.
it's just
Well, yeah,
it's
well,
money, dude.
you're
It's
rolling,
money,
man.
dude.
I
It's
like it.
money, man. So it's been great, dude. I couldn't imagine my life if I was working a 9 to 5. Like
Mhm.
I did that for a while and not that I hated it, but like now that I'm doing this, my eyes are like open. I'm like, dude, this is like too good to not pass up. Like I'm not giving it away for anything. That's the cool part though. You have to like you got to stay on top of it, man. It's really easy to get like unmotivated. Like if I don't work for like a week or so, I'm like, dude, like it's nice to relax. But then I also feel like I'm worried that I'm going to be like in a creative slump. I get back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it also is kind of good though, because after a while, if you film and film and film, you're like, okay, I need a break, and then you take a break, and the first video you make when you get out of that break is like a banger. Like
That's
Travis, a couple months ago, we were at the house and we had like a week to chill. We were caught up on everything, and Travis was like, "Man, I don't want to pick up a camera. I don't even want to think about picking up a camera. I just need like some time to relax." We fished for like 4 or 5 days, and then got a phone call. It's like, "Hey, we need some content, like a couple 30-second ads." And Travis is like, "I want to take it over. I'm gonna smash this, dude." And we shot a video, and it was like the coolest one he's ever made. And he's like, dude, I chopped it up. It was awesome, dude. It was so cool.
that's so
But,
badass, dude. That's awesome, man. I have no creativity when it comes to that stuff, so it's really cool to me. It's almost like being a person that is really likes live music or like likes watching music and watching it, and just it's cool to see your passion and everything that you've got going with that, because it's like from a distance, like I have no desire and I'm not good at anything with what you're talking about. But like watching people do it that are good at it and passionate, it's like, man, it's artwork. Like this is
it
really
is,
cool.
dude. It's a form of art, man, and that's what like I tell people a lot. Like it's just as much art as like painting or something like that, you know.
Mhm.
And I think I think a lot of it really is just 100% creativity, man. It's just taking ideas that you have and being able to like make it come to life with a camera and through like editing software and stuff like that. It's
Sure.
super cool. I think that's the main thing that I like about it so much is like I get to control what the story that's being told. And I think for me, that's kind of what I enjoy the most about it is just telling that story. Um, like I used to like to write a little bit like in high school and stuff. I was really good at like English
Yeah.
papers and stuff like that. And I
Sure.
don't think that's the reason why I'm good at what I do, but like I think that's a huge part. I just love telling stories, like cinematic stuff that like tells a story and kind of like tugs at your heartstrings, bro. It's like
Mhm.
all it's all me, dude. I love that stuff.
Dude,
Love it,
that's
man.
awesome. And that's I mean, that's today's world, right? Like, I mean, so I'm big into hunting and I mean, bass fishing is my main passion, but like this time of year, like right when we're starting to like bass fishing's kind of slowing down, except
Yeah,
for up north, like I start getting things rolling into like elk season and everything we've got going here. And like, man, just the footage and everything related to that when guys like when there's a story to be told on some hunt, some remote place, like that is it's so appealing to our today's world that I mean, just I think people like yourself and your brother and everything you guys have going, like the value is just going to keep going up because that's
100%.
just
Yeah.
that's the way the world's working.
I think that's the reason why, like, it's just been a steady incline. It's never really like when we first started, it was like there were some slow times here and there, but I think now, dude, everybody wants content to engage with. Like like numbers are huge nowadays. So like getting that engagement, pumping content out, like it's just one giant snowball. And as it rolls downhill, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't really think that I think as far as the fishing industry goes, there will always be room for people that do what I do. And to be honest, like, I don't really think there's ever going to be a time where there's too many of them. Like,
Yeah.
there's always new companies, new brands. Like, everyone needs someone to help provide them with content. So for me, I think that I think there's a fair bit of job security there as far as like having jobs and getting paid to do stuff. And like being a camera guy, like not even in the fishing world, there's a lot of opportunities elsewhere too. Like you can find a lot of ways to get plugged in and meet the right group of people outside of the fishing world. I know there has been some times because like everything that I do, all my reels, all my like portfolios, if you want to call them, they all have outdoor content. And so there's been a few times where I've been approached by like people like very, very far from the fishing realm or anything outdoors in general. Like, hey,
Wow.
show us some of your stuff. And I send them my stuff and they're like, this isn't really what we're looking for. Like, we were looking for more like this. And I was like, well, I don't have anything like that whatsoever. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
So it's it's a huge diverse place, man. Like just being someone who's like creative and like not even just me, like everyone else that is creative with the camera and really really good at making a picture, a video, like a reality. It's just a crazy good market and a space for someone to be in. It's really really cool.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it just gives someone an outlet. Like, I think a big part of why I created this show, especially, I mean, just business from the bass boats model was like all these folks that started businesses and are in careers in the fishing industry. It's like to show, hey, look, you don't have to be a pro angler to like experience this industry in its full
Exactly.
entirety. And like the media space is a huge opportunity in my eyes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always joke around and say that when I go film tournaments, I'm the only person at the tournament has a guaranteed paycheck when they leave home, like when they
Dude,
leave to go. I'm
valid.
like, I
Absolutely
always tell people
valid.
like, I know I'm getting paid whenever I leave this tournament. I don't care how everyone does. I'm getting home with some money.
Getting paid, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
but
hilarious.
you're right though. It is cool. Like the industry, there's a million and one jobs out there that people make money off of the fishing in general or like sales rep stuff like that. It's a really really cool unique industry and it's so big from what it seems, but it's really really tiny. Like
Mhm.
it's insane the amount of times that I've met somebody like even just fun fishing or like down at the coast and someone's like, oh yeah, my friend does that down there, like he works here. I'm like, I met that guy the other day. It's just so cool. It's just a crazy small world, man. That's why I think that's another thing that kind of comes back to like being a good person, man. Like people can get burned in this industry like really really fast if
Oh,
you
yeah.
if you're not careful and if you're not respectful and stuff like that. Stuff uh stuff goes far fast in this industry, like word spreads really really quick. But
Mhm.
I'm happy to be here, man. It's a cool place. Everyone is super super cool. Like
Agree.
the industry is like minded. Everyone you meet is just really really awesome to be around. It's just really really fun.
Heck yeah. One last question, or we'll kind of get things wrapped up here. But one question I did have that I didn't mention earlier was like, so I mean, with the NPFL, you and your brother are kind of more along covering the event from photos and that perspective, right? You're not like
Yeah.
actually filming so and so on the water, like
Right.
top 10 or whatever it may be. So that aspect, like you're then editing photos and getting those up like that night, right? Like as
Right.
far as
Right.
for folks for the event. And then more of your stuff with John Hunter is like actually going through film, like creating a series related
Right.
to how he's doing. On
Right.
that type stuff, how many days are you spending like in the dome or like in the office, man? Like you're
Looking at
cranking
a
out like,
screen.
yeah, like how much screen like
Yeah.
for every day of filming, how many days of screen time does that take?
Man, honestly, I'm like I've gotten really quick at editing those limitless videos. I think
That's awesome.
the last one that we did, John made he made I think he made yeah, day 3. So 3 days of tournament footage. So it's like 3 days of GoPro footage, 3 days of camera footage.
Okay.
Um that one took me probably 2 days, like nonstop, like waking up at 7 o'clock, working until like 9 o'clock. Took me 2 days.
Gotcha.
And
Doing like
that's like
long
I'm at
days.
my house, like on the computer. The only thing I really do is stop to like eat lunch and grab dinner, and then that's it. Like, so 48 hours,
Looking.
probably like 48 hours roughly of like editing, completion time for 3 days of tournament footage.
Gotcha.
But everything else is like MPFL stuff is like, dude, it's the weeks that we film MPFL is like a blur. Like it's you show up like because we get on the water and shoot practice stuff, and I don't know if you've seen like the live stream and stuff. There's like little edited videos and stuff like that are plugged into the stream. We do all that stuff too.
So like the showing the town and
right, like the town stuff with Fat Cat and stuff like that, and
yep.
Like the pre-tournament videos that have like slow-mo guys casting and stuff like that. Like even like the AOI interviews and like the prediction videos and stuff like that. We shoot all that stuff. So MPFL, like there's really never a specific task that we have. We try to get everything.
Always filming.
So yeah, so it's like practice, like one of us will shoot videos and one of us will shoot photo, and then one of us like we alternate on the days of the tournament. So like at blast off, I'll be taking photos and I'll go back and edit, like upload photos to the website, get those done, and then get on the water, shoot photos until like 2:00, and then come back for an hour, edit photos, upload them to the website before weigh-in, and then shoot photos at the weigh-in, and then like an hour after weigh-in's over, upload photos again. And then usually whoever's doing like on the photo duty whoever's on photo duty doesn't have to do videos. So whoever's on video will stay up till like midnight, edit the intro video for the show of the next day, and then start all over again and do it 3 days in a row.
Grinding, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Dude, it's a blur. Like I said, when you show up, it's like 5 days pass and you're already headed home. You're like, I don't even know what just happened, but it's over. But,
time to go fishing. We need a little break.
Yeah. I saw someone the other day because like doing what we do is like staying up late and getting up early is like everything it's like all you do.
Right.
And saw something the other day. I thought it was funny. It was like someone posted on their Instagram story and was like, it was like 4 a.m. and he was like, this is midnight for videographers or something like that. It was like just a poke at like staying up late and getting up early, man. That's all it really is. My girlfriend will tell you that. Like, she's like, I've never met anyone who gets up so early, but they're not a morning person. I'm like, I get up at 4 a.m. or 3:45 or whatever, like 90% of the year for like tournaments and stuff like that. And she's like, you're not a morning person. I'm like, I just don't like to be like, I like to get up and just like be aware of what's going on and then go about my day. Like everything is just it's just getting up early is part of the play for sure.
Part of the job, man. Dude,
that is, man.
I've always been like, luckily to some extent, a morning person. Like I get up early, even when it's outside of a tournament or anything. Like I just wake up early. It's just who I am. But like, man, like even just Lake Oahe this last couple of weeks, like, I mean, because it's light from like 5 a.m. to like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, like this time of the year, anywhere northern in the country, you feel like you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not practicing long. And it's like, dude, when I got back from Oahe, like I crashed, man, like hard. Just like, but still wake up early, like still up at 5 a.m. Don't know why. Yeah. Just used to it.
That was me. Especially like when you go somewhere with a time change. Like I was in so I was at Gunnersville and then stayed in Kentucky. Gunnersville, stayed at John's house in Kentucky for like 2 nights, and then went to Tennessee, stayed there for a week, and then shot Watts Bar, and then came back home. So I was gone for like 3 weeks, but it's like still an hour difference. But I swear when I got back home, I was like, the time change a little bit, like kind of messed with me a tiny bit. It was a little bit noticeable for sure. Like went to bed later, stuff like that. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I went to Indonesia like 4 years ago, and it's a 12-hour time difference. Like daytime here is nighttime there. Dude, I was so screwed up when I got back home from that trip because we were gone for like 10 days. And dude, my internal clock was all sorts of spun around when I got back to the house. It was crazy.
Man, that's like a couple of days of recovery, maybe a week of recovery.
Oh, yeah, it was like I probably think that it took a week to get back on track. It was insane, bro. It was a crazy trip though. It's cool. Got to catch some giant trevally.
Dude, that's my dream fish, man. As far as in the ocean goes.
Dude, it was so sick. I have the popper. I was catching them on right here.
Yeah. Oh, he's a monster.
I bought this off the guy that took us when we went.
Dude, that's my like dream deal. So like we had recently here on the podcast the guys from CastCasco, and they're like whole model from Australia. They have a US division, and it's blending the lines between freshwater and saltwater. So like they've got a lot of saltwater plugs that they're then turning into like freshwater stuff for bass, and it's wicked, man. Like it can just they're all predator fish, right? But like just the stories, man, and the footage that they have, like they've got if you haven't like checked out some of their stuff.
I need to. That's really cool. I think I've heard about those.
Yeah.
The cast guys. I think I've heard about that.
They're sweet.
Giant Trevally is like such a cool fish though. They actually, I'll show it to you. Like you're talking about like blending freshwater and saltwater. I actually bought this one too. Like this is the original size one right here. Yeah. I bought this little mini one.
There you go.
So I'm gonna eventually I want to put trebles on it and try to catch a bass on it, but I'm like, I do not want to break that off. Like I'll throw it on like 50-pound braid.
50-pound braid, even though you're throwing a
yeah, dude, it's like it's crazy, dude. Like it's a cool looking little bait.
That is so cool. Dude, no, that whole thing is so cool to me. It's just a market I'm so unfamiliar with is the saltwater stuff, but it's cool. Like just like how you don't have any trebles. Like I had no idea. Like you walk into a bait shop in Australia or something, like you pick your hooks, you pick your swivels, like all that stuff for saltwater because you're like, I don't know if I'm going after a 40-pound fish or a 100-pound fish. Like
right.
It's just
that's wild. A whole different world, man. That's why like every now and then when I don't really like when I get tired of bass fishing, I'll go down to the coast and go catch redfish and speckled trout. And I love doing that. I love doing that. It's so much fun.
Sounds like fun. Man, that's sweet. Well, dude, we'll wrap things up here. I guess a couple of questions for you to kind of wrap up the show. Number one would be if you could give any advice to someone, maybe it's a high school angler, college angler, or not an angler at all, that's someone that's interested in this space, in cinematography, the media side of bass fishing, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's like, hey, maybe I want to see if this is my thing?
I think I think the number one thing that I would say is just to get out there and do something. Like it doesn't matter if you're getting paid for it or like if you're shooting for someone who's a superstar or your buddy down the street. Like I think the main thing, and I always preach this to my buddies and stuff, just getting out there and doing it. Like the more that you have under your belt, the more time you have behind a screen, the more time you have behind a camera lens, gives you more time to get better at what you do. And like I said, dude, if you're a good person, if you're passionate about something, if you put blood, sweat, and tears and work hard and have good work ethic and drive towards something that you want to do, dude, the opportunities are endless. So for anybody that's interested in doing this or even approaching a different field, just get out there and do it, man. Like spend time, grind. Like don't worry about money. Like that was my thing coming from like working at 6 Cents. I was used to getting that paycheck, and then as soon as I left, I was like, I saved up some money, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna make the jump. I'm ready to go. And then the first couple months where I didn't have a paycheck hitting my bank account, I was like, okay, I don't know if I should have done this or not. Right. But you just gotta stay at it, man. If you work hard and you put your time in, I know for the most part, I think I've been kind of lucky a few times, so I can't really speak on like not being lucky. There's been a couple times where people hit me up.
That's how it works, in my opinion. Like that's how the universe works, man. Like if you're putting in your time and you're doing the right things and you're working hard, like, man, I don't know what it is, but in these last couple of months too, like I've thought that through. So I independent contract for the job I used to do. And rather than being full-time 9 to 5, now I'm able to fish terms, that kind of thing. But like things just happen, man. It's weird. As long as you're working hard, like things roll.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's been a huge part of my life too. Like meeting the people that I have and having the contacts that I have, it just all comes out of nowhere. Usually like everything that's ever like happened to me that's like really good or huge, I didn't even expect. Like it's not, and especially doing what I do, man. And for people that are like interested in it, you can't expect anything. You just have to like constantly work, keep your head down, grind, stay busy. And then, like you said, the good stuff will come, dude. Pretty cool.
I like it. All right, man, to wrap up the show, your biggest largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, where you were and what you caught them on.
I honestly think that Lake Texoma is probably the lake that I've caught my biggest largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass.
No way. Dude,
so when
first time on Texoma was earlier this year.
Yeah, dude. All my friends that live here on Conroe, they probably are tired of hearing me talk about how much I like Texoma. We grew up in, like I said, we grew up in Gainesville, which is like really close to the Texas-Oklahoma border. I grew up 45 minutes from Texoma, like 35 minutes from Ray Roberts. So those were like the two lakes that we ever fished on a bass boat, really. And Texoma, like 1, 2, and 3. I caught one that was like 11 something on Texoma, largemouth. Like I was in high school when we first got our bass boat. Travis and I went to Texoma, caught a smallmouth that was like 5.5. Actually, my biggest smallmouth came off the St. Lawrence River with John. I can't. Yeah, mine was it was like a 6-pounder. John and I actually were headed up to Champlain. He was going to fish a pro circuit tournament back when it was actually FOW.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You want to stop at St. Lawrence?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And so we smashed them for a day, and I think I caught one that was like 6 pounds. But spotted bass too, yeah. I've never really like I went to Lanier a couple months ago. Never really. I fished like 45 minutes, didn't catch anything big. But biggest spotted bass is on Texoma too, probably like a 3-pounder. But that's like a Texas Kentucky bass. It's not like a Magnum spot. It's a big Kentucky bass.
The most common answer I get from folks on their largest spotted bass is like, I don't know, like 2.5 pounds, like somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like a 3-pounder is like a good one, man, for most places.
Yeah, dude. I gotta send you some pictures when we get off here. But on Texoma, I was in high school at the time. I may have been in college, like first year of college, but found a mega school of spotted bass on Texoma, and they stayed there for like 4 days. Like I took off work one day because I was like, I'm just gonna go catch spotted bass all day. Like I pulled up, crazy morning, dropped the boat in. Like our boat being an old carburetor motor doesn't like to start sometimes. And so I backed the boat in. The truck's still on the ramp, and the wind's blowing me across this little point. And I actually like it blew me up on this little sand point.
Okay.
And so I got the motor like cranked up, and I'm letting it idle, and I'm like I pull a cranking rod out of the box, and I'm like sitting on the deck, and just I like wanted to straighten my line out, so I just made a cast across the cove, started reeling, caught one, and I was like, that's crazy. Made another cast, caught another one. Made another cast, caught another one. I started picking up like just all sorts of random stuff to catch them on, and I actually ended up catching them on a mag draft. Like those big spots were eating a mag draft, like on Texoma, and it was unreal. But I was calling all my friends like, hey, you want to go fishing tomorrow? You want to go fishing? And they were literally like 100 yards from the boat ramp, and I stayed there for 4 days straight and caught smallmouth a couple smallmouth mixed in, but like spotted bass after spotted bass after spotted bass. It was insane.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
Texoma, St. Lawrence, Texoma.
Yeah.
They're huge out there too. They get pretty big.
That's awesome, man. Cool. Well, dude, Tanner, I appreciate you taking the time, man, coming on the show. And dude, I'm just excited to keep watching your career and everything you've got going. And we'll have to get you on again.
Appreciate it, bro. Thanks for the time.
Heck yeah, man.
Take it easy.